Hello students. Today this is our fifth session. Today we are going to learn Arduino, right? So in previous lectures, we learned about how to do proper wirings of small and simple circuits, right? So today we are going to learn about Arduino, right? Anyone know about Arduino? Does anyone know about Arduino and how it will work or not? Do you know about Arduino? So basically, Arduino is a controller, right? So it is like our brain, right? How our brain controls our sensors and our actuators, right? So our actuator means we are doing actions for the required things, right? So similarly, in electronics or in robotics, we also have some actuators, right? Actuators means you know that what are the actuators, right? Basically these are motors, LED bulbs, the sound devices, right? So alarm system, piezoelectric buzzers, motors, pumps, etc., right? So these actuators should be controlled, right? So it is not possible for a motor to run all the day long, right? So basically what we have to do is the motor should start according to the prioritized time, right? So a proper time, a motor should start and the motor should end, right? So for that purpose of achieving that, the motor should start for a particular limited amount of time, we have to control the circuit which is given to the motor, right? So if we are giving whatever the electricity or the power to the motor, we have to control it properly, right? So how can we control these circuits? Yeah, that is why we are using Arduino boards, right? So I can show you what is the Arduino board. In previous lecture also I explained about what is Arduino board, right? So this is the Arduino board, right? So I can increase a bit for you to see properly. Wait a minute. I don't see any. So this is the Arduino board, right? Today we are going to learn about this one, right? So hope you all installed the Arduino software, right? In previous lecture, I explained that to you how to download and install Arduino. So hope you all students are using Arduino board, Arduino softwares on your computer, right? So this is this is very simple, right? So whatever the thing you are looking for the first time, it will be very hard, right? So if you learn these things, right, if you work on these things day by day, that thing will be very much simple and easier. So likewise Arduino board also likewise, right? So what we have to do is we have to practice these things, right? Practice means we have to program, right? Program means not like the writing coding, right? So programming means it's a visual programming, that everyone, when we are in childhood, we were interested in building blocks, right? So similarly we have some building blocks in these things also. So that way we can learn Arduino very simply, right? So that means everyone can learn Arduino very easily, right? So that is why what we are going to learn today. Right, let's get into the video. The so in this class, right, so after you have installed the Arduino, it will be look like this, right? So I can open it up. right? Hope you see my screen. If you have any doubt, you can interact with me, right? So when I'm conducting lecture, if you have any doubt, or that means you didn't understand about whatever the thing, you can ask it to me, right? So I have unmuted you, right? Yeah. So basically, I have an Arduino board here. This is Arduino Mega, right? So probably, most probably in your Arduino starter kit, you may have Arduino Uno, right? Both are working same. The difference is number of pins, right? In Arduino Mega that I have many number of pins, right? Many communication pins as well, right? So in your Arduino Uno, you may have some reduced number of pins, but both are working same, right? So also we have Arduino Nano, Arduino Leonardo, Arduino Pro Mini, etc. Those all Arduinos are working same, right? So that means we have to, in order to get the work done, we have to program this one, right? So that means this is the Arduino, the brain of the circuit, right? So if we have sensors on one side, that means if we have sensors, like an example, motion sensor, right? So on the another side, we have LED bulb, or we have two LED bulbs, let's say, right? So basic example, I'm telling you, I have one motion sensor, and I have one Arduino board, and I have two LED bulbs, right? So if no one is detected, if no one is detected on this motion sensor, that means the green LED will be turned on, right? So if someone is detected on the sensor, that means the red LED should turn on, right? So this is the operation, right? In order to achieve this operation or the task, we have to use this Arduino board, right? So that is why we are using Arduino board. So most probably you may have before the lecture, you may have confused about what is Arduino, what are the things, what is this board, right? So after this lecture, you have to be aware about what the component is, right? So that is what we are going to learn, right? So after you have installed this Arduino, you will see this uh, pan, right? So in this pan we have files, right? So files means we can create new files, open our Arduino codes, etc., right? So we can save here, right? So whatever the thing we are doing, we can save it, right? So you can, you know that these are similar to Word files, right? So we can save as, we can click save as and save this component. I am saving this code, right? I'm saving this code in my desktop, right? So I'm naming as this is the practice one, right? So this is practice one. I'm saving this file, right? So after you have saved this one, you may see that a folder will appear here. So this folder will include this Arduino file, right? That means you can see that the file type is Arduino, right? So you can, by time to time, we can save the code by clicking save, right? Once we have saved as the file, then after we can save, right? Time to time we can save it. And also we have page setup, print, we can print the code, and preferences, right? In preferences we can do some works, right? That means we can, if the code fonts are not showing clearly, I can increase the font size a little bit, right? So I'm increasing the font size, and we can save the sketch location, the saving location, etc., right? So these are the simple things. We are not going to go deeply to these things because these are some basic things. You can learn it very quickly, right? So this is, so well, first of all we will see these things, right? So here we have edit, right? Edit means, you know, that we can cut or copy, you can increase, find the codes, right? So find means, you know, whatever the code that have been typed in here, you can find it by clicking this find icon, right? So here sketch is the important thing, right? So first of all, what we will write the code here, right? So first we write the code here, but in this class we are not going to type the code manually, right? We are going to obtain the code by visual programming. That's another sector, right? I will come to that later, right? So today So sketch means we are, after we have installed or typed the code, right? So what we do is, in this class we will copy the code and insert it here, right? So after we have inserted the code, we have to upload the code to this Arduino, right? So we have to upload it, right? So that means sensor, motion sensor is here, Arduino board is here, LED bulb should turn on and off, right? So this is the task, and we have to program this, right? Manually we have to program this and upload it to this, right? So to upload to this Arduino board, we have to have an USB cable, right? So this may be available when you are purchasing your Arduino board or Arduino starter kit, right? So this is the USB cable. This can be connected to our PC or the laptop, and this is the connector which can be connected to this Arduino, right? So we can verify the code, right? In sketch we can verify the code, right, whether we have typed correctly or not, right? If there is any errors, that can be shown after we have click compile the code, right? So then we have another option here, upload, right? So upload means this code, right? So this code on the screen will be uploaded to the Arduino if we click upload, right? So that is the name indicates that upload, right? So these things are not necessary. Include library. So this one is important. Library means we have some already coded or all the templates available in the Arduino board, right? Arduino software. That means if we are using as an example, if we are using a servo motor, we have a readily available code, right? What we have to do is we have to do some changes, then we can use that one, right? So that way you can see these codes, right? So these are some examples that we have, right? So we will look one after another, right? So right, next thing is tools. We can see that we can navigate the Arduino board and our codes, right, by using this one, right? So here basically what we have to do is, here board, we have to select the board, our proper board, right? So if a person is using Arduino Uno, he or she has to use this one, right? So currently I am using Arduino Mega, right? So in Arduino the name shows that Arduino Mega, right? So Arduino Mega 2560. So I'm going to select that one, this one, right? So I'm going to, just a minute. Right. So if you have any doubt, you can raise your hand and then ask me questions, right? So right, here we have tools, right? So tools, after you have select the proper Arduino board that you are using, you have to select this one, right? So after that you have to select the processor type, right? So several Arduinos having several processors, right? So in Arduino Mega we have two processors, right? So that this is the one that I'm using, right? So 25660 is the one I'm using, so I'm going to select this one, right? So after that you have to select the port, right? So port, it is not available, right? So in order to get this available, we have to connect this to our computer, right? So here I'm going to connect this Arduino board to this one, right? So likewise I have connected on the one side, and the other side, this side should be connected to our USB port to the laptop. So I'm connecting here, then I'm connected, right? After you have connected, there is a light, right? So the light will be turned on. So after you click the tools again, after you have connected, the port option will be available, right? So for that you have to select the COM3, right? That means communication port number 3, Arduino Mega is available, right? So I have to select this one. Then after, you can upload the code very simply, right? So this is what the process you have to do, right? So first of all, you have to select the board, select the processor type, and connect the board, and then you have to select the proper code, right? So I'm not aware about what you are saying. Can you say me again? Can you say it to me? I didn't get you what you are asking. If you have any doubt, you can ask it to me. So what is the problem? What is the problem? Sorry?
Any other app?
The sound is not clear on your microphone. Your sound is not clear. Can you ask it to me again?
Sir, can you hear me now?
Yeah. Yeah, what is the problem?
Sir, where should we code this? Like, where should we write the code?
Yeah, we have to write the code here, right? While we are, if you
No, sir,
want.
what's the app? Is it Tinkercad or
No,
Notepad?
the software is Arduino, right? Here. On the previous lecture, I told you how to install the Arduino software, right? We can go to the Arduino official website, arduino.com, right? So arduino.com, you can download this for free, right? So you have to
Okay, sir.
select Arduino and then you can install it, right? So
Okay.
so that is the software that can be interacted to the Arduino, right? So in order to code the Arduino, we are using another platform that is called Tinkercad, right? So hope you understand this one, right? So this is what we have, right? So this is the code section, right? In code section, we have two parts, right? One part is here, right? That means void setup, and the curly bracket starts here and ends here, right? After that, we have void loop here, right? And then the curly bracket starts and stops here, right? So that means if we are typing something, right, some programs or some codes in here, right, in between these curly brackets, that means the code will run only for one time, right? The code will be running only for one time, right? So that means if we are inserting that the LED to blink, that means the LED will blink and then off. That is the code for the entire lifetime the Arduino will do, right? So if we are typing something in here, right, something in between these curly brackets, that means, that means the code will be running forever, right? That means, for an example, let's say we type a code to run and to blink an LED bulb for 1 second, and then the LED bulb should off for 1 second, right? So that means I have to blink and then turn off, right? So if we type blink and turn off in here, that means the LED will be blinking forever, right? That means it will be turned on and turned off, turned on and turned off, turned on and turned off. Likewise, it will continue. So that is the difference between void setup and void loop, right? So whatever the code that we are typing here, that will be looped, right? So that is what we have to understand. So some in programming you have to know about. So basically the programming things are in advanced robotics. So I will explain a little bit about the programming, right? So first of all, we have to define these things, right? So rather than explaining this one, it is better to explain the visual programming. So hope everyone will understand these things, right? So if you put double slash and whatever you type here, that means this is called as command, right? This is not the code. If you delete this one, it will also work, right? Right. So hope you understand about this one. So I'm going to, right, delete this all the things, right? So this one, my space is empty, right? So now I'm going to connect an LED, and I'm going to work with these things, right? So let's get into the Tinkercad software, right? So you know that this one, and you know how to select this one. So before we get into that, I have to tell you one more thing, right? That means we have to know about resistor color codes, right? So you have some resistors, right? So maybe you have some different resistors. So how can you identify the resistors value? That means the resistance value. How can it be identified? Can anyone can say that? We can identify by using this one, right? This means the multimeter, right? We can turn it to the multimeter resistance value, and then we can measure, right? So another way, in resistors, there are some standards, right? So we can identify, if we identify at the standards of the resistors, we can easily identify, right? So we have to have this one, right? So this particular image we have to have in our computer or phone. We have to have this image, right? So if we see that there are some colors indicated on the resistor, right? Some may be 4 bands, some may be 5 bands, some may be 6 bands, right? So if it is a 4 band one, right, so that means you can come to here, right? So that means you can come to this line, and then you can see that that means the first digit, right? So 4 bands, yellow means that is the first digit, right? So first digit for the yellow color is 4, right? So that means we can write this as 4. Next color is this may be pink, right? So pink color, the line is indicated to second digit, right? So second digit pink means 7. So we have to type 7, right? That means 47, right? After you have written this one, then you have to go for third color, right? So if it is red color, right? So red color line is coming here, and then the red color is indicating this one, right? Not the third digit, right? If it is five band, that is also for this one. If it is only a 6 band, that is for the third one, is for third digit, right? So you know that if it is red color one, you have to find this one. If it is four band, right, you have to go for this value, not 200, right? Because the line is connecting and coming here, right? If it is 4 band, we have to omit this part, right? We have to omit this part. If it is 4 band, we have to omit this part and this part, right? So 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? So you have to multiply this by 100. So first digit will be 4. The second digit for the pink color is 7, right? The third digit, the third icon, red color, is for multiplying that one, right? So you have to multiply it by 100, right? So what will be the answer if we multiply, right? 4700 ohms, right? So this is how we can calculate the resistance. This one, right? So the gray color one is coming here. That means 10%, right? That means plus or minus 10%, right? Plus or minus means we have to find a 10% value. 10% value means 470, right? So there's a 470 value may be increased or may be decreased from the original value. That is called as tolerance, right? So if you buy a resistor, that resistor can be, right? So if we buy this resistor, that can be 4700 plus 420, or 4700 minus 420 ohms, right? So that is what in between these values, whatever the in between value it can take, right? So that is how we can identify the resistors, right? So if it is 5 band, we can also calculate this similarly, right? So I have an example for you to calculate. What is the resistance of this resistor? Can anyone explain it to me? Can anyone explain this value of the resistor? This is very simple because we have brown color one. So how many bands we have? We have 4 bands, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 colors we have. So that we have to check this one and this one and this one and this one, not this and this, right? So first one is brown color. Brown color means we can obtain most probably it may be 1, right? So 1 we have to write 1. Then it is black color, right? Black color means the second digit it is 0, right? So it means 10. The third digit is called as multiplier. We have to multiply by these numbers, right? So for the red color one, in here it is 100. So we have to multiply it by 100, right? So that means the answer is 1000 ohms, right? Plus or minus the gold color one. Gold color means 5%. So this is the value. That means 1000 ohms, right? So hope you understand this one. This is how we can identify the resistors, right? So why we use resistors? In order to reduce the current flow, right? So that is why we use, in order to protect our electrical components, electronic components as well, right? So in control LED bulbs, we are going to control an LED bulb by using Arduino, right? So this is how you can connect, right? Without breadboard, you can also connect, right? So I'm going to tell it to you how we can connect it, right? So I have an Arduino here, and I'm going to connect the board, right? So I'm going to connect this pin to the computer, right? So that means I have connected to the computer. That means the Arduino is powered up. From where? From where the Arduino is powered up? From the computer, right? So here I have an LED bulb here. So I can increase the size of a little bit. I cannot be able to. Right. So here the LED bulb. So in if you see the Arduino board, you have several pins. I explained these things in previous lecture, right? So if you have any doubt, you can ask it to me. So if I connect the LED bulb to 3.3 voltage and ground, what will happen? If I connect this LED bulb to 3.3 voltage and the ground, what will happen? That means the LED bulb will be turned on forever, right? So I'm going to take a positive terminal, right? So this is the long one is positive and the shorter one is negative, right? So I'm going to take the positive terminal and connect it to 3.3 voltage, right? So and I'm going to take the negative terminal and connect it to the ground, right? So what will happen, right? You see that, right? You can see that the LED is turned on for always, right? So that means we can't control the LED if we give power for the lifetime, right? So if we want to control the LED, that means blink and turn off, blink and turn off, blink and turn off. We have to control this one. Okay? How can we control? That is why we are using this one, right? So I'm obtaining a power from this 3.3 and ground. So that means the LED is turned on for always, right? So now I am going to control this LED bulb, right? In order to control, I have to disconnect the LED bulb, and then I have to connect for another pin, right? So another pin means this, but this LED is this LED can be connected to either a digital pin or either a analog pin, right? Digital pin means the LED is turned on or turned off. We have two choices, turned on or turned off. If we connect this LED to analog pin, that means we can control the illumination. That means the intensity of the bulb. Right? We can control the intensity of the bulb from turned off to turned on. In between that one, we can also get, right? So I'm going to connect digitally, right? So I'm going to connect the digital pin, right? That means I'm going to connect whatever the pin I have, and then the negative should be connected to the ground, right? In Arduino, we have ground terminals. So I'm going to connect the ground terminal, and then I'm going to connect whatever the pin I like. I'm going to connect 12th and ground, right? So I'm going to connect the 12th pin and ground. So after I have connected, what will happen? So I have connected, right? So I have connected this LED bulb, right? So what will happen to this LED? It is blinking? No, it will not blink automatically, right? So we have to manually program it. That is why we are learning these things, right? So if we want to blink this LED bulb, we have to manually tell this Arduino. We have to tell this brain to operate what I told it to you, right? So this is what we are going to learn, right? So to program this one, we have Tinkercad, right? So I'm going to reduce this one. Right. So this is the task, right? So turn on LED for 2 seconds, turn off LED for 3 seconds. This should be continuously running, right? So this is the task. It should turn on for 2 seconds, and then it should turn off for 3 seconds, and then it should come here and turn on. That means turned on for 2 seconds, turned off for 3 seconds, turned on for 2 seconds, turned off for 3 seconds. This loop should be continuously running, right? So that is what we are going to do today, right? For that, we have to go to Tinkercad, right? So I'm going to, in Chrome, I'm typing Tinkercad here, and you have, I have given you all the nicknames, so you can type your nickname and then you can join, right? So here I am a teacher, I am signing in here. So I'm also joined. This is my friend's computer, so I'm going to join as a class student, right? Currently I don't have this one, so you can work, right? So you can simply type the link that I have provided to you, and then you can turn on, right? Right. So hope you are all are seeing this one. So you have to start circuit and create a new circuit, right? So this is very simple, right? So we have to manually insert all the components that are required to do this task, right? So we have to insert the components. That is, one is Arduino, right? So here we have Arduino R3, right? Arduino Uno we have. So we can simply click and drag here, and if you want, you can also use a breadboard, right? You can insert a breadboard here, right? So if it is breadboard is not necessary, if you want, you can use also, right? Right. Then I have to properly, so before you manually connect the components to the Arduino board, you can work with this virtual environment, right? So that means you can ensure that the components are not defected while you are connecting, right? So as an example, if you directly power up the LED for 5 voltage, the LED bulb will be defected. Then after, you can't use this LED bulb, right? So before that, we can work on this virtual environment, and then we can work, right? That is why we are learning this one. So I can insert a breadboard and a resistor here and an LED here, right? So these are the components that we have to have, right? So for that, we have to connect, right? So that means we can obtain Arduino power from the Arduino, right? That means we can't give power for heavy motors, right? We can't run motors by using Arduino. We can run, but we can run the LED bulb by using this Arduino board, right? So here, as my wiring diagram states, that I have to connect the 12th pin to whatever, maybe 30, right? So I have to connect this from a resistor. So I have to connect here. I can simply rotate here by clicking R, and then I can arrange it here, right? So after I have arranged that one, I can insert the LED bulb like this. So for the end, I have to close, in order to close this loop, I have to connect this to the ground, right? So now the wiring diagram is completed. This is the simple wiring diagram. This can be completed by you as well. If you have any doubts while connecting these things, you can ask it to me, right? So do you have any difficulties while handling these things up to now? Do you have any problem?
No, sir.
Right. Now we are go. So this is what I have connected, right? So before I physically connect the board, right, we have to virtually connect these things, right? So then only it will be very easy, right? So you can give different colors and bias, right? So those things will be done while you are practicing, right? So I'm explaining here, right? So now we have to program the Arduino, right? So for programming, we have another option here called code, right? So after you have clicked the code, you will have some options, right? So for the options panel, you can click this icon, and you can select block plus text, right? You can click blocks plus text. That means you have both, right? You have block diagrams and you have codes, right? So if you are unfamiliar while handling these codes, you can work on these building blocks, right? in your in your childhood, you may have learned these things, right? So this is very simple. We can learn it, right? So I can drag here to increase the font size. So here you can click this one to increase the size in order for you to see, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this existing program, right? So this is the existing program. I'm going to delete. In order to delete this, I can simply click this and drag it to the trash. This is the trash icon, and then I can click it to the trash icon. That means the code is washed out, right? Now we have some patterns. We have some different criteria to program, right? So here, output, we have some output options. That means say, right? So if you are ordering for a person to do something, what will you do? You will say the person to do these things, right? So similarly, the outputs are like that one, right? So you are giving orders to the Arduino. That is called as outputs, right? That means set LED built-in LED to high, set pin to high, right? So these are the ordering words, right? So here I'm simply dragging here, so I can click here and drag this one, right? So that means set pin 0 to high, that is the code exists, right? So I'm going to edit this building block, right? So I have connected the LED bulb. What I have connected? What is the pin I have connected the LED bulb? Here you can see from here also I have connected the LED bulb to the 12th pin, right? So I can open the code, right? And then I can simply select that 12th pin to high. 12th pin to high means, you know that high means it will be blinking, right? So it will be, that means 1, right? So 1 or 0, right? We have 1 or 0. So that means high means the bulb will be turned on, right? So this is the simple code, right? So now what we have to do in order to complete our task, turn on the LED for 2 seconds and then turn on the LED, but also it has to stay for 2 seconds, right? So that is the next task we are going to do. We are going to stay this power for 2 seconds, right? That means we are ordering the Arduino to give the power to the 12th pin and then stay for 2 seconds. So for that we have to program also. That is very simple. We have another panel, another tabs here called as control, right? So in control we have some different components as well, right? So we have wait component, that means wait for some second, right? So give the power for, give and stay the power for some amount of time, that is the operation for that one. And then repeat 10 times, right? So this means, you know that what will this mean? This means repeat the task for 10 times, right? Repeat the task for 20 times. We can simply set that one, right? I'm going to delete this one because we don't need that one. And also we have some more components, right? So we can repeat that one for a while. While means until the task is done, it has to repeat, right? So that is, this block means, if, right? So if block means if anything is sensed, that means if a sensor, that means a motion sensor is sensing something, that means we have to order, right? That means we have to say an order to other things. These other things will be discussed in our future lectures, but today we are going to simply learn about the blinking LED, right? So for that, today's task, we are going to select and drag and drop this one. So that means set 12 pin to high for 1 second, right? This is how you read these things, right? So I'm going to edit. This is not 1 second. We have to set this for 2 seconds, right? So I'm going to click here and then I'm going to type 2, right? So that means 2 seconds. You can also select milliseconds also. Milliseconds means 1,000th of second, right? So you know that if it is in millisecond, I have to type how much I have to type. If it is millisecond,
2000.
yeah, in order to obtain our required task, we have to type 2000. That means 2000 millisecond means 2 seconds. So I am placing here for 2 seconds, right? Simply, right? So what is the next task? That means turn off LED for 3 seconds, right? So I have to set the 12th pin to low. So I have to again go to the output and then select this one, set again. I have to edit this one to the 12th pin, right? So we can edit other pins as well, right? So I have to set that to low, right? So then I have to add time, right? So that is very simple. I can click here and drag here. This is like playing games, right? So even by using this visual programming seriously, you can make games as well, right? That is advanced robotics. That means we can create a gaming players, and we can do a lot of works by using Raspberry Pi, right? So that those things will be learned in advanced robotics. So basic things we are going to use Arduino, right? So here we have to edit this. The power has to be stayed for 3 seconds, right? So I'm going to type 3 here, and that's up. This is the code. So what will happen if I upload this code to the Arduino? What will happen? Can anyone say it to me? What will happen? You may say that the bulb will turn on for 2 seconds and then turned on for 3 seconds. That's all. No, not like that. This will not be like that, right? So this will be, right? It will run this line, right? Then after it will run this line. Then after it will run this line. Then after it will run this line and go to this line. That is the phenomena, right? So if we type this one, this will run for continuously forever. This will run forever, right? So you can see that here also you can simply learn a little bit about the codes, right? So void setup pin mode 12 output, right? So that means I'm defining the pin mode 12th pin mode as an output, right? So this is the first time. So that means this code will run only for one time. That is why they have typed the code in void setup, right? So after that, the void loop, right? So void loop means 12th pin high, delay for 2 milliseconds. That means 2000 milliseconds, right? So that means 2 seconds. Digital write 12, right? That means 12th pin will be low. Delay means stay in off condition for how many? 3 seconds, right? But the code is typed in void loop session, right? But void loop section. So that means the code will be running again and again, right? So that is what will happen. So I am going to, right? So now we have done all the coding works, right? Now we have to upload it and check it, right? So this is very simple, right? So now I'm going to select all these things and I'm going to copy. Make sure that you copy all the things, right? So this is common, right? So if you type 2 slashes continuously, that means after the 2 slashes, these are comments, right? But after these 2 slashes, these are comments. You can say that these all are comments, right? Not like that, because the Arduino will identify line by line, right? So after it has recognized this line, it will start a new line here. After it will start a new line. So likewise, it is work as line by line, right? So I'm going to copy all the code, right? All the code and click Control plus C, copy, right? In keyboard, we can control copy, and then we can open the Arduino code and make sure that you have delete all the codings that exist previously on the Arduino, right? So we have to delete this one, and then now we can paste it here. So this is the code. This is how we can obtain the code virtually and simply, right? Many of the students, even A-level students, are also suffering from these codes, right? So now as grade 6 to grade 9 students, you can work more, right? So these are the simple things. If you I told you in the first few minutes of this class, I told you that if you see this for the first time, this will be definitely difficult, right? So if you are seeing this for the third time or the fifth time, that will be the very simplest thing in the world, right? So that is the phenomena works, right? So time to time you can practice these things and become a master, right? So now we have typed the code, right? So what we have to do is we have to click the verify icon here. You can simply go here and click also, but here also we have some shortcuts, right? So you can click the tick icon to verify the code, right? So if it has any problems, you will see the problems in here, right? So now the sketch is compiled, right? So after it is compiled, you will see a message that the code is completed, right? So you will see. So wait for it to appear. So basically this computer is slow. So if you are using a computer, that will be very quick, right? So right, done compiling. We have a successful message, done compiling. Some may have error compiling, right? So that means error while compiling messages. That means if you didn't copy at least this curly bracket, you will see error compiling, right? So each and every letter is essential, right? So here you can see that expected 0 at the end of the input, right? So I inserted that one, and after the code is uh, successfully completed, you can simply upload it, right? So now I have connected the Arduino to the computer, and now you see that the Arduino is powered up. Now I'm going to upload this code, right? So after uploaded, you can see that some LEDs are blinking, right? So we have some error, right? Communicating with program. So that means we have to select here Arduino board. So I'm going to disconnect this one and connect. So if your computer doesn't have the driver to support the Arduino, it will not work. So for that you have to install the driver. So now it is working, right? So you can see that. So the LED bulb is turned on for 2 seconds and turned off for 3 seconds. It is turned on for 2 seconds and it is turned off for 3 seconds. This is how you can simply control the circuit. What I did is after I had the problem, what I did is I simply disconnect the cable and again connect it, right? So that means the code is working. So if that doesn't work, you can put a call and then ask it to me, right? So that means how you can install the driver setup for the Arduino. If your computer doesn't support the driver, that means the COM port, you can ask it to me how we can install it, right? So hopefully most of the computers are having those ports, right? So you may not have those kinds of problems, and hope you understand these things, right? So did you understand about this one? If anyone didn't understand, you can raise your hand or you can ask me questions, whatever it is. If there is no questions, we can move on. So you have to practice these things, right? So after we have learned these things, you have to manually try these things by in your home, right? So these are very simple things, right? Now I'm going to disconnect that, right? Right now we are going to do this task. right? Control multiple LED bulbs using Arduino, right? So today, now we are going to learn how to control multiple LED bulbs. That is also similar, simple, right? So this is the wiring diagram. You know that if we have a wiring diagram and we can obtain circuits, right? So we have to have an Arduino here, and then the 12th pin is connected to a 330 ohm resistor, and then it is connected to the LED bulb. Then the 13th pin, it has connected to a 330 ohm, and then it is connected to the another LED bulb, right? So this is very simple. That the task is here. Turn on red LED for 2 seconds, turn off red LED for 3 seconds, turn on green LED for 3 seconds, turn off green LED for 1 second. This is the task. Can you do? So I want to know that whether you students are currently using Tinkercad software or not. That means that currently, while you are working on the class, are you working on Tinkercad, or after you learn from the lecture, you use Tinkercad software? I want to know that one. What about you? Yeah, after the class. That's fine. That's fine. So any other? So hope you all are working like that. So this is the task. Can you do? Turn on the LED for 2 seconds. Turn on the LED. Yeah, what is the question?
Not questions. I'm using Tinkercad.
Okay, fine. So now we can move on to Tinkercad and complete this task. Okay, right. So the task is simple. We have to turn on the red LED for 2 seconds, turn off the red LED for 3 seconds, and after it is completed, we have to turn on the green LED for 3 seconds and then turn off the green LED for 1 second, right? So then after, the process should be looped, right? So this is what we are going to learn. Now I'm going to slightly click this one, so the code will disappear. So I have to select another LED bulb, right? So and then I'm going to select another resistor, right? So that is very simple, right? So I'm going to rotate this one and then connect somewhere here, right? Similarly, I can grab this one and click here, right? So here we have some problem, right? Some of the changes should be done here, because let's go by step, right? So 13th pin should be connected to this resistor, and the current will be flowing through this one and this one and this one, and this should be grounded. We can't connect here because we are using jumper cables. Actually, we will have different problems, right? So it will be very easy for working the software, but if you are working on a real problem, you may have this problem, right? So grounding, that means you will have only one, sorry. So you will have only one ground terminal that can be given for two circuits. That means two panels. So how will you connect? Not like this, huh? We can't connect here. So what will you do? Another option we have is, here also we have ground, right? This ground also will work fine. We can connect and obtain here, but that is not the best practice, right? So in order to obtain the best practice, simply we have to delete this wire. This ground should be deleted, right? So then you have to obtain a ground from here and then you give the ground to this one. That means you can see that the green lights are blinking, right? So not here, not here. So the green lights are all are all are ground, right? So that is how you connect the ground, right? So then you can simply obtain a wire from here and here, and also here and here. That means the all the LED bulbs are grounded, right? So the current will be passing from 12th pin and the third pin as well, right? So for the 12th pin, how will we connect? 12th pin, it is LED 2, right? So that means we can set that this is the red LED, this is the green LED. So I'm going to click here and I'm going to change the color of the LED. That means we can select green. So we have selected all the components, right? Now what we have to do after doing these things, what we have to do? Please quickly answer me, so that means we can learn a lot of things. If you answer quickly, we can learn more things. It is up to you. This is a 2 months course. So if you interact with me more and more, we will learn more things, right? Right. Next we are going to code, right? So this is the existing code. So the code is working fine. So I'm going to add some more components, for this one, right? So I'm going to add a set pin here, right? So you may feel that we are going to set the pin here. No, we are not going to set the pin here, right? We are going to set the pin for here, right? Set the 13th pin low. This is the task, right? So this is what we are going to do. That means while at the time frame, right? That means let's say as an example, this is 9 p.m, right? So at 9 p.m, the 12th pin is high, 13th pin is low, right? At 9 p.m, right? After 2 seconds, 9 p.m and 2 seconds, after 2 seconds is passed, what will happen? This is what we are going to do, right? So I am going to select another pin, right? Another set pin 13. Again, it should be low, right? So we can see the task here, and turn off the LED for 3 seconds. After it is turned off, then only the green is turned on, right? So we have to wait for 3 seconds, and then we have to set a pin, and then we have to select the 13th pin to high, right? So this will be helpful if we are working multiple projects. So multiple actuators, if we are using multiple actuators, this will be helpful for us to understand the criteria, right? So we have to select another 3 pin. So if we set the pin to low, that means it will remain for low, right? So here the 13 pin low is not necessary. Why? Because we already set the 13 pin to low, right? So that is the case, huh? So if we set it for high, that means it will be turned on, right? Right, now we have to wait for 3 seconds. So wait for 3 seconds. Wait for 3 seconds, and then it should be set pin 13 to low, right? So then after it will come again, right? So then it will come again, and then it will be working like that. So now we can also delete this one, right? So if we delete this one also, it will work, right? So hope you understand the program. Now we can start simulation also, right? So you can simulate these things. I forgot to tell you, you can simulate and see what will happen, right? So for 2 seconds it will be turned on, after 3 seconds turned off, it will turn off on for 3 seconds and then off, and then again it will work, right? So this is how we can simulate these things. And also you can connect by using Arduino and different LED bulbs. By using different Arduino and LED bulbs, you can also connect these components, right? So these are very simple things. If you have any doubt, you can ask it to me. So did you understand? Now I'm going to tell you that code one also, right? So we can reduce this code because this one is not necessary. So I'm going to delete this one because the 13th pin is low already. So then it will loop again. So if we connect like this, that is also fine. So here already the 13th pin is low. So we can take this one and we can also connect like this, right? So now we can simulate. You can see what will happen. Turned off for 3 seconds, and then this one is turned on for 3 seconds and then turn off, and then it will start. Did you notice any faults here? We'll see who are the intelligent students. Did you find any wrong in this simulation or in this program?
No, sir.
That means we have to learn something more. Any other person? I have one wrong. I have one problem here in this code. Did anyone notice that one? So you can manually see that, right? So what will happen? 12 pin high on 2 seconds. 2 seconds it will be blinked. Then 12th pin will be turned off, right? Then the 13th pin will start for 3 seconds and then it will turn off at the same time. At the same instantaneous time, the 12th pin is high because I didn't insert any delay here. So that is the problem. That is the wrong. So that is the case we have to identify, because these are simple things. Everyone can understand these things, but you may mistakenly do some things. That is why I'm explaining these examples, right? So we have to set this for 1 second. Now I have corrected the problem. Now it will work fine. You can see that. You can see that. After 1 second, then only it will turn on, right? So that is the case, right? We will learn transducers with Arduino in our next lecture, right? So tomorrow I will have also some kinds of activities for you to work. That means the real-time activities, right? That means tomorrow you have to design an automatic hand sanitizer dispenser circuit for protect us from COVID-19, right? That means you have to, so yeah, this is the sanitizer I have, right? This is the sanitizer I have, right? So what we have to do is maybe a bigger one. So it has to manually, so it has to automatically spray my hands when I bring my hand towards near the top of the sanitizer. It should automatically spray my hands without touching it. It has to operate. That is the case, right? Can you think about any circuit and do? Not today, tomorrow. Tomorrow I will explain how to connect these things, right? So how to connect the sensors and transducers and how we can program it, etc. Those things will be discussed in our tomorrow lecture. So that will be very interesting. So After you learn those things, you can work on these actual projects, right? So for before we learn that one, you have to uh, you have to, right, you have to be prepared, right? So that means you can learn quickly. That means I can explain it to you very quickly. If you practice these things today, that means obtain an Arduino, you can simulate these things, and you can work. If someone that someone may don't have any Arduino boards, right? So for that person, you can directly go to the Tinkercad. I provided you the nicknames for in order to log in. So then you can use the login usernames, and you can work on these things, right? So you can work on 3 bulbs. You can work on 3 different bulbs and different colors, or even you can now you can design vehicle traffic light system, right? So how the traffic light will activate, that means the red light will blink, then after the yellow, then after the green, after that the red will be turned on. So this is the traffic light system. You can also design the traffic light system by using LED bulbs, right? So different things can be discussed by using these programs. Tomorrow I will explain more about these programs as well. So that is all up to the today's class. So do you have any doubts or the problems while connecting these components or log into the sites, or any problem? Do you have any problem? So this is the environment that you are learning, that this is like playing games, right? Not like conducting lectures and you sitting behind the phones. That is not the way, right? So this is the interactive session. That means this is a practicing session. If you have any doubt, you can ask it to me. Right, thank you. Right now we can, if you don't have any questions, we can wind up the class. Tomorrow we will have the classes at 8 p.m, right?